Okay, the reading for this week is Minase Sangin Hyakuin, composed in 1488, translated as Three Poets at Minase. And the study guide for this assignment will be distributed separately, and I'll make another video about the study guide for this work. In this video, I'm just going to recite the entire Renga sequence, okay? So this work was composed in the spring of 1488 by three Renga, linked poetry, traditional linked poetry, is called Renga, by three Renga masters, Sōgi, who's the leader of the group, and his two disciples Sōchō and Shōhaku. Okay, the three poets met at Minase, which is in the Setsu no Kuni, which is today the Osaka area, to compose a hyakuin. Okay, and as I mentioned in one of the other videos, hyakuin is one of the first major forms of Renga linked poetry. Okay, it consists of 100 verses in a row. And when completed, the sequence was presented to the nearby Minase shrine as a votive offering in memory of Emperor Gotoba, who lived at the end of the Heian period, born in 1180 and died in 1239. And he's the emperor who was responsible for putting together the Shinkokinshu, which is the last of the great early imperial anthologies. And the poets were sort of showing their respect to that work by writing this poem and dedicating it to Emperor Gotoba. Okay, so further detailed information I will give in the study guide and the next video that I will make about the study guide. So for now, I'm just going to read the entire sequence. Okay, and the translation that we have here is by Earl Minor, included in his Japanese linked poetry, or Japanese traditional verse. I can't remember the title. I'll put the information in the description to this video, and just keep in mind that the translation is by Earl Minor. So I'll read the original Japanese and the English translation by Minor. Okay. So the work, yes, Minase Sangin Hyakuin. Okay, and I will say the number too. So starting with verse number 1. Okay, let's put it on. Right here, we put it on automatic scroll. Okay, number 1. This is the Shōori omote, and this is a word you remember from the other videos on Renga poetry. It means the front sheet of the first piece of paper, the first sheet, the front of the first sheet. Number 1, Yuki nagara yama moto kasumu yube kana. Some snow still remains as haze moves low on the slopes toward evening. This is by Sōgi, the leader of the group, who starts the sequence. Okay, verse number 2, by his disciple Shōhaku. Yiku水遠く梅匂う里. Flowing water far away in a plum-scented village. Verse 3, by Sōchō. Kawa ni hito mu ra柳春見えて. Wind off the river blows through a clump of willows, and spring appears. Verse 4, by Sōgi.船さす音もしるき明け方. A boat being pulled along, sounding clear at break of day. 5, Shōhaku. 月やなほ霧渡る夜に残るらん. Still there somewhere, the moon off behind the mist traversing the night. 6. Sōchō. 霜置く野原秋は暮れけり. Out on frost-laden fields, autumn has come to its end. 7. 鳴く虫の心ともなく草枯れて. With no care at all for the insects crying out, grasses wither away. 8. By Shōhaku. Kakine o toへばあらはなる道. あらはなる道. Pay a visit, and by the fence, a path standing in the open. 9. Okay, this is the back of the first sheet, the Shōori, the ura of the Shōori. Yama fukaki, sato ya arashi. Yama fukaki, sato ya arashi. So deep in the hills, the village spends all its time amidst rough winds. 10. By Sōgi. Nare nu sumai zo sabisa mo yuki. Sabisa mo uki. If you're not used to the life, the solitude is hard to bear. 11. By Shōhaku. 今さらに一人ある身を思うなよ. No more of that now. This is no time to lament that you are alone. 12. By Sōchō. 移ろはむとはかねて知らずや. Have you not learned before this that all things must always change? 13. By Sōgi. 置きわぶる露こそ花にあはれなれ. Dew drying in vain to form on cherry blossoms, a pitiful sight. 14. By Shōhaku. まだ残る日のうち霞むかげ. Still some sunlight remains, faint rays shining through the haze. 15. By Sōchō. 暮れぬとや鳴きつつ鳥の帰るらん. Has nightfall come? Birds cry out above, making their way toward home. 16. By Sōgi. Miyama o yukeba waka sorda mo nashi. So far into the hills, there's no sky to show the way. 17. By Shōhaku. Haruruma mo sodewashi no tobigoro. A break in the storm, but still showers on the sleeves of a travel robe. 18. Sōchō. Waga kusa makura tsuki ya yatsu san. Here on a pillow of grass, the moonlight seems like a waste. 19. By Sōgi. Itazura ni akasu yo oku aki fukete. For too many nights the time has gone by in vain, autumn deepening. 20. By Shōhaku. Yume ni uramuru ogi no uwa kaze. Must it interrupt my dreams, this hateful wind in the reeds? 21. By Sōchō. Mishi wa mina furusato bito no ato mo nashi. All there was to see were sad remains of my old home, people I once knew. 22. By Sōgi. Oi no yukue yo nani ni kakaran. Up ahead in my old age, what will I rely on then? 23 is the front of the second page, the Nino Ori, Omote. 23 is by Shōhaku. Iro mo naki, koto no ha oda ni aware shide. So without color are these verses of mine, yet some solace still. 24 by Sōgi. Sorde mo tomo naru yugure no sora. This too can serve as a friend, the sky as dusk descends. 25 by Sōchō. Kumo ni kyō hanachiri hatsuru mine koete. Today clouds replace the blossoms that scattered, crossing a peak. 26 by Shōhaku. Kikeba ima wa no haru no karigane. The time has come, I hear, the call of wild geese in spring. 27 by Sōgi. Oboroke no tsuki ka wa hito mo matte shibashi. A dim moon, yes, but obscure in its beauty? Wait a moment. See. 28 by Sōchō. Karine no tsuyu no aki no akebo no. A brief sleep fragrant as dew. Vagrant as dew. Then faint light of autumn dawn. 29 by Shōhaku. Sue no naru sato wa haruka ni kiri tachite. At the field's far edge stands a village, distantly, where mist is rising. 30 by Sōgi. Fukikuru kaze wa koromo utsu koe. Carried by on passing wind, the sound of mallet on cloth. 31 by Sōchō. Sayuru himo mi wa sode usuki kure goto ni. Even on cold days I have only these thin sleeves every nightfall. Tanomu mo 32 by Shōhaku. Tanomu mo hakana tsumagi toru yama. An uncertain livelihood in the hills gathering wood. 33 by Sōgi. Sari tomo no kono yo no michi wa tsuki hatete. I had not lost hope, but now my way through the world has come to nothing. 34 by Sōchō. Kokoro bososhi ya izuchi yukamashi. What a wretched situation. Is there nowhere left to go? 35 by Shōhaku. Inochi no mi matsu koto ni suru kinu ginu ni. The end of my life, that is all I can wait for, the morning after. 36 by Sōgi. Nao nani nare ya hito no koishiki. What could be the cause of it, that I should feel such love again? And now the back of the second sheet. Ni no ori ura by Sōchō. Kimi o okite akazu mo tare o omou ran. Will I still have you? Why think of anything else? While I still have you, why think of anything else? Why this discontent? 38 by Shōhaku. Sono omo kage ba nitaru dani nashi. No resemblance do I see to that other countenance. 39 by Sōgi. Kusaki sae furuki miyako no urami nite. The shrubs, the grasses, even these long bitterly for the old capital. 40 by Sōchō. Mi no uki yado mo nagori koso are. Even here in my house of pain, I still have some attachments. 41 by Shōhaku. Tada chine no tokaranu ato ni nagusame yo. Before time passes, remember your parents fondly and take comfort now. 42 by Sōgi. Tsukihi no sube ya yume ni meguramu. Days, months move toward their ends, rolling on as in a dream. 43 by Sōchō. Kono kishi yo moro koshi bune no kagiri nite. Leaving the shore, a boat stops for its last stop before far Cathay. 44 by Shōhaku. Mata umare konu nori o kikabaya. Ah, to hear of a law that could free one from rebirth. 45 by Sōgi. Ao made to omoi no tsuyu no kie kaeri. Till we meet again, like dew, my feelings languish only to return. 46 by Sōchō. Mio aki kaze mo hito da no me nari. Though wearied by autumn wind, I go on with the deception. 47 by Shōhaku. Matsu mushi no naku ne kai naki yomogyu ni. Yomogyu ni. 48 by Sōgi. Shimeyu yama wa tsuki no mizo sumu. Rope cordons mark the mountain where only the moon resides. 49 by Sōchō. Kane ni wa ga tada aramashi no nesame shite. A bell sounds and I see what's there ahead of me, unable to sleep. 50 by Shōhaku. Itadaki keri na yona no shimo. How thick it lies on the head, this frost night after night. Okay, now we're on the front side of the third sheet. 51 by Sōgi. 冬枯れの足たずわびて立てる絵に In winter's blight stands a somber crane, in reeds by a little cove. 52 by Shōhaku. Yu shio kaze no okitsu funabito. In the tide wind at nightfall, boatmen out in the offing. 53 by Sōchō. Yukue naki ni kasumi ya izuku hate naran. Drifting aimlessly, the haze spreads out and away, but towards what end? 54 by Sōgi. Kuru kata mienu yamazato no haru. You can't see where it came from, spring in the mountain village. 55 by Shōhaku. Shigemi yori tae-dae nokoru hana ochite. Among green branches, a trickle of late blossoms falling to earth. 56 by Sōchō. Kono moto wakuru michi no tsuyuke-sa. Parting the way beneath trees, a pathway heavy with dew. 57 by Sōgi. Aki wa nado, moranu iwaya mo shiguru ran. It's autumn, true, but how can my dry rock house admit rain showers? 58 by Shōhaku. Koke no tamoto ni tsuki wa nare keri. Here I am in sleeves of moss, yet still the moon seems at ease. 59 by Sōchō. Kokoro aru, kagiri zo shiruki yo sute bito. Now we discover how devoted is the heart of the recluse. 60 by Sōgi. Osamaru nami ni fune izuru miyu. Over the waves, now at peace, a boat seen rowing away. 61 by Shōhaku. Asanagi no sora ni ato naki yoru no kumo. In the morning calm, the sky retains not a trace of last night's clouds. 62 by Sōchō. Yuki ni sayakeki yomo no toyama. In snow, how bright is the gleam of far mountains all around. 63 by Sōgi. Mine no iyo, kono ha no nochi mo sumi akade. Never do I tire of life in my mountain-top hut, even after the leaves. 64 Shōhaku. Sabisa nadau matsukaze no koe. One learns to bear solitude from the sound of the pine wind. 65 by Sōchō. Tare kako no akatsuki oki yo kasanemashi. Who besides myself might be arising at dawn, time upon time? 66 by Sōgi. Tsuki wa shiru ya no tabi zo kanashiki. Only the moon could know this, how sad one is on a journey. 67 by Shōhaku. Tsuyu fukami, shimo sae shiyoru, aki no sode. Already dew-laden, and now frost too withers them, my autumn sleeves. 68 by Sōchō. Usu hana susuki, chidamaku mo oshi. Plumes on flowering miscanthus, what a shame that they must fall. 69 by Sōgi. Usurda naku kata yama kurete samuki hi ni. A quail cries out where dusk falls beyond a cliff on a cold day. 70 by Shōhaku. Noto naru sato mo wabi tsutsu zo sumu. Once a village, now a field, but the lonely life goes on. 71 by Sōchō. Kairi koba machi shiyo moi yo hito yamin. If he should return, he will see how patiently I have waited. 72 by Sōgi. Utoki mo tare ka ga kokoro naru beki. Whose heart could it possibly be to feel itself so aloof? 73 by Shōhaku. Mukashi yori tada ayaniku no koi no michi. Since the beginning it has been untrustworthy, the way of love. 74 by Sōchō. 忘れがたきよさえ恨めし That it will not stay unforgotten makes you hate the world more. 75 by Sōgi. Yamagatsu ni nado haru aki no shidaru ran. Living in the hills, what knowledge should one have of springs and autumns? 76 by Shōhaku. Uenu kusaba no shigeki shiba no to. Grasses that no one planted rank around a brushwood door. 77 by Sōchō. Katawara ni kakiho no adata kaeshi sute. Alongside a fence, fallow paddies left behind, only half plowed. 78 by Sōgi. Yuku hito kasumu. Yuku hito kasumu. Ame no kuregata. A man goes walking hazy in the evening rain. 79 by Sōchō. And 79 is the front of the Nagori no Ori. Yadori sen no o uguisu ya itou ran. The place where I stop for shelter, the bush warbler no longer likes. 80 by Shōhaku. Sayo mo shizuka ni sakura saku kage. Ah, the stillness of the night beneath the cherry trees in bloom. 81 by Sōgi. Toboshibiyo. Somukuru hana ni ake somete. Lamp turned aside, I look to blossoms for my light. Day about to break. 82 by Sōchō. Taga tamakura ni yume wa mieken. Who will it be dreaming now, that fine arm for a pillow? 83 by Shōhaku. Chigiri haya. Omoi taetsutsu toshi mo hen. I gave up all thought of seeing that pledge fulfilled as the years went by. 84 by Sōgi. Ima wa no yowai yama mo tazuneji. At such an age, who can hope for a visit to the hills? 85 by Sōchō. Kakusu miyo hito wa naki ni mo nashitsudan. So thoroughly have I hid myself away, they'll think I'm dead. 86 by Shōhaku. Sate mo ukiyo ni kakaru tamano o. Still it hangs on in the world, this jewel string that is my life. 87 by Sōgi. Matsu no ha o tada asa shi tada asa matsu no ha o tada asa yu no keburi ni te. Needles from the pines, every morning, every evening, going up in smoke. 88 by Sōchō. Urawa no sato wa ika ni sumu ran. People living at the seaside. What do they do to survive? 89 by Shōhaku. Akikaze no arai somakura fushi wabinu. With the autumn wind and a rough beach for a pillow, I despair of sleep. 90 by Sōgi. Kari naku yama no tsuki fukuru sora. Wild geese cry from the mountains, the moon sinking in the sky. 91 by Sōchō. Kohagi hara. Utsuro utsuyu mo asu yamin. Tomorrow I'll watch as the dewdrops disappear from the bush clover. 92 by Shōhaku. Ada no o no o kokoro naru hito. Like the fields of Adamore, so is the heart of that man. 93, and this is the Ura of the Nagori no Ori by Sōgi. Wasuru na yo kagiri ya kawaru yume utsutsu. You must not forget that we promise to the end dream or reality. 94 by Sōchō. Omoeba itsu o inishie nisen. I think, but no longer know what I mean by it long ago. 95 by Shōhaku. 仏たち隠れてはまたいずるように One Buddha leaves us for another to appear in this world of ours. 96 by Sōgi. 枯し林も春風ぞ吹く A grove of withered trees, yet even here spring winds blow. 97 by Sōchō. 山は今朝行くしもよのにか霞むらん Mountains at morning, but how many frosty nights preceded the haze? 98 by Shōhaku. 煙のどかに見ゆるかりよ Smoke makes for a peaceful scene around a makeshift hut. 99 by Sōgi. This is the penultimate verse in the sequence. 癒しきも身を治むるはありつべし Among the lowborn too must be some who spend their time in tranquility. And the final verse of the sequence, 100 by Sōchō. 人におしなべ道ぞ正しき For all men everywhere, the way lies straight ahead. And I mentioned these words, Shō-ori, Nino-ori, and so forth. The Shō-ori is verses 1 to 8, followed by the backside of the Shō-ori, which is verses 9 to 22. Okay, on the front side, we see the moon appear in stanza, in verse 7. We also see the moon appear in 18, and the flower appear, the hana no za. Remember the hana no za and the tsuki no za that I explained in the previous video. Tsuki no za appears, the hana no za appears in 21. And then we have the ni no ori. Okay, on the front side of the ni no ori, the second sheet, which is verses 23 to 36. At verse 35, we see another tsuki no za. And then the backside of sheet 2 is verses 37 to 50. And we see the tsuki no za again at 46, verse 46. And a hana no za at verse 49. Then we have the third sheet. On the third sheet consists of verses 51 to 64. The tsuki no za appears at verse 63. And then the backside of that sheet is verses 65 to 98. And we see the tsuki no za at 74. And the hana no za at verse 77. And then we have the final sheet of paper called the nagori no ori. And the front side of the nagori no ori includes verses 79 to 92. And we see the tsuki no za appear at verse 91. And then on the back side of that final sheet of paper is includes verses 92 to 100. And we see the hana no za appear at the penultimate verse, number 99. All right. This is there's a lot to discuss about this poem, its various rules and so forth, whether it follows the rules, whether it changes the rules in any way. We have to take note of the seasons, right? Haru and Aki appear twice as often as the other two seasons. And in Kasen of Matsuo Basho, we saw that non-seasonal verses or miscellaneous verses, the ratio between non-seasonal verses and seasonal verses was 5 to 5. So we'll have to inspect this poem and figure out what that ratio is. And these are issues that I will discuss in the next video and in the study guide to this Hyakuin sequence, which is one of the most famous of all the Hyakuin Renga sequences. That is all for now. Goodbye.